a peddler who sold caps, but she was not like any ordinary peddler, carrying her wares on her back. She carried them on top of her head. First she had on her own checked cap, then a gray cap, then a brown cap, then a blue cap, and on the very top, a red cap. She walked up and down the streets, holding herself very straight as to not upset her caps. As she went along, she called,
Turn around, say that again. You have to face your audience. Okay, say it again.
One morning, she couldn't sell any caps. She walked up the street and she walked down the street calling, but nobody wanted any caps. That morning, nobody wanted even a red cap. She began to feel very hungry, but she had no money for lunch. I think I'll go for a walk in the country. She said and she walked out of town slowly, slowly, as to not upset her caps. She walked for a long time until she came to a great big tree. That's a nice place for a rest, thought she, and she sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on her head. Then she put up her hand to feel if they were straight. First she checked her own checked cap, then the gray cap, then the brown cap, then the blue cap, and the very red cap on top. They were all there, so she went to sleep. She slept for a long time. When she woke up, she was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, she felt with her hand to make sure her caps were in the right place. All she felt was her own checked cap. So she looked to the right of her. Look to the right. No caps. And she looked to the left of her.
No caps.
Then she looked in the back of her.
No caps.
Then she looked behind the tree.
No caps.
Then she looked up into the tree. And what do you think she saw?
Monkey.
On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. She didn't know what to do. Finally, she spoke to them. You monkeys, you.
You monkeys, you monkeys.
Shaking a finger at them. You give me back my caps.
You give back my cap.
But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at her and said, this made the peddler angry, so she shook both hands at them and said,
You monkeys, give back my cap.
but the monkeys only shook both their hands back at her and said, now she felt quite angry. And she said,
You monkeys,
you better give me back my...
you give back my cap.
But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at her and said... By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry. She stamped both her feet and shouted...
You monkeys, give back my cap.
But the monkeys only stamped both their feet back at her and said... At last, she became so angry that she pulled off her own cap, threw it on the ground, and began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap. And the gray cap, and the brown cap, and the blue cap, and the red cap came flying off the tree. So the peddler picked up her caps and put them back on her head. First her own checked cap, brown cap, then the blue cap, then the red cap on the very top. And slowly, as she walked back to town, she called,